Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I am absolutely delighted that you have found me and are giving me a couple of moments of your time. So, I have a question. I'm curious to know exactly how, or exactly what, Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham actually think of Trump. How they see him, how they perceive him, and alternatively, how Trump sees them. So let's get going here. Just give this a couple more quick shuffles, and we'll see what we can see. As I'm doing this, again, thank you so much for joining me, for the likes, the subscribes, the views, the donations. It's all brilliant. Thank you so much. All right. One of my viewers dubbed this as the Sheldon knock. I love that, and I'm going to steal it, although really the reason I'm tapping is 3 times is because it's just everything is a trinity, and it creates a clear, it clears the deck and it clears the energy. But I still really like the Sheldon tap. Okay, so Trump, McConnell, Lindsey. Trump, McConnell, Lindsey. Trump, McConnell, Lindsey. Okay. Both McConnell and Lindsey Graham really wish Trump would shut up. They wish he would just fade into the background and basically let them do what they want. They find themselves very frustrated and aggravated by the fact that he will not comply. He will not behave. He will not do what they want him to do. These 3 cards, though, are incredibly interesting, because they, in and of itself, tell the story. They put all of their faith behind this man. Russia is not the only person or the only country that viewed Trump as a useful idiot. So did Mitch McConnell. He felt that, what he was getting was a president in name only. He felt that he would be the kind of president who would just simply do what he was told because he was completely out of his league, and he would sign what was put in front of him to be signed. That was what Mitch McConnell was hoping for. That is not what Mitch McConnell got. You could consider this one of Mitch McConnell's epic failures. He completely misunderstood the ego, the narcissism, and the inability to stay connected with reality. He saw it, but he thought it was, this big, and it was like this big. Okay, so he just completely underestimated him, and what has happened, of course, is it has created heartbreak. It has created heartbreak for him, for Trump, and for Lindsey Graham. The secrets are coming out fast and furious. It's not going to stop. It's going to continue. There are going to be tears that are shed, and their fortune will change. In some ways, I could actually stop the reading right now because that sort of says it. They are left in a position that the only thing they can really do, the only way they can actually respond, is to just deny, push back, push away, ignore. I love that you have, Mitch McConnell, head of the Senate, who, when backed into a corner, about Trump, his go-to phrase is, "I don't have an opinion on that." Well, how the hell can you not have an opinion on that? The whole world has an opinion on it. But, I'm going to be, a chicken shit. And I'm going to hide behind, "I have no opinion," and, don't push me on this. Trump and the truth have, a relationship that doesn't exist, okay? The truth does not actually play a real role in Trump's life. And while McConnell isn't a whole lot better, and Lindsey Graham certainly has gone down exactly the same path, it's not a good situation, okay? I mean, there is just friction. There is infighting. Do not kid yourself. Mitch McConnell is not quiet behind the scenes. He has temper tantrums. He threatens. He does whatever. But again, to some degree, he completely mischaracterized Trump and his personality to the point where he just didn't realize that yelling and screaming and hopping up and down really doesn't have an impact on Trump, because frankly, people have been doing that to Trump for years, and he just water off a duck's back, right? It just doesn't stick to him. The illumination is, and there of course is my Trump card. The illumination is, it's been difficult. On the one hand, the Republican Party has been able to push their agenda forward. Of course, their big thing is the courts and stacking the courts. But the amount of focus on this administration has been far more intense than I believe anybody expected. The backlash to Trump has been massive. They were not expecting that. In most administrations, and I'm not American, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that, the president gets elected and then kind of everybody sort of backs away, and they kind of really don't pay very much attention, except for the people who are intensely involved in politics. And then about 2 years later, your midterms come around, and about 50% of the people who were paying attention to the election kind of pick up their heads from their own busy lives and the things that are important to them. And they focus in and they go, okay, this is what we're going to do. Either this, we need to rein back power, we need to give him more power. And they make a decision. And then kind of about, 12 months later, in the lead up to the next big election, everybody kind of goes, oh, okay, what's going on? That did not happen this time. What happened this time was those floodlights got turned on Trump, and people are not turning them off. And the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams of the world, well, on the one hand, they're absolutely thrilled to sort of, have the power that they have in the Senate and have a Republican president. The other side of it is they don't know what to do with him. They cannot control him. And they are actually incredibly worried about how erratic and dangerous this man is. They lose a lot of sleep over it. Now, frankly, do they deserve to lose sleep? You bet your butt they do. Because they're the ones who are facilitating this. They are the ones who are encouraging this insane behavior. And they are the ones who are choosing to not rein him in. It ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna work for them. When literally the death of the Republican Party comes, it is going to be severe. It is going to impact a lot of these peoples, the McConnells, the Grahams, and the Trumps. It's going to impact their financial stability. There is more trouble coming down the pike than you would think. Recently, a viewer left a comment that said something about, Mitch McConnell is in the pocket of, big business. And I absolutely agree with that. However, the people are the ones that have a vote. Yep. business can manipulate, they can lobby, they can, flood money into a campaign to try to get somebody elected. But the bottom line is every person has a vote and every vote counts. So, and in this instance, the higher they climb, the harder they fall. And they have climbed too high. They've gotten too big for their britches. They're out of control. And because they're dealing with Trump, it's literally kind of like a runaway train, right? I mean, everything is just exponentially crazy. But make no mistake, these guys are not going to, their loyalty and their fidelity to the devil, literally, is not going to serve them. I do not believe that Trump is going to be, I don't believe Trump is going to be reelected. I don't believe Mitch McConnell is going to be reelected. And honestly, I'm not sure about Lindsey Graham, but frankly, at this point, energetically, it doesn't look all that good for him either. Because the people that support these people support them. But their behavior has attracted so much attention, so much illumination, that people who were sort of like almost like apolitical are now involved. And they're involved for the long haul because they have started to realize and recognize that the government and controlling the government is up to the people. You do not give, these lunatics uncontrollable power. The end will be swift. It will be sudden. And there's big changes coming. There's going to be some people who are used to being respected and powerful and influential who are going to be left out in the cold. I see donors pulling back. I see even strong base pulling back. And part of the reason is that, and of course the world is watching, part of the reason for that pullback boils down to the fact that when somebody is that out of control, those people who flood money into campaigns no longer feel that what they want is going to be accomplished, because the people in those positions of power are too erratic. They're too out of control. And it creates an instability. So it will be quiet. It's going to be behind the scenes, but people, big donors, that kind of big support is going to be pulling back. I mean, certainly you can see it already with, the unions. A lot of the unions that were supporting Trump in the first round are not supporting him in this second round. And that is going to be an ongoing, continuing theme. Trump wants to go back to the way things were. He really liked his life before. He doesn't like this life so much. It's not at all what he thought it was. I mean, he really did think it was ribbon cutting and parades and giving speeches and people applauding. And he's discovered that, that's not quite so much what the presidency is about. He's greedy. He makes unholy alliances. And while that includes the Putins and the Xis and Kim Jong-uns of the world, he has also made unhealthy alliances with the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams of the world. So he's not, he's just not in a good position. He can actually see his hard work sort of being frittered away. He can see that he's losing momentum and he's losing prestige. There will be more news coming about financial investigations, about Trump and his money. And do not be surprised if those investigations also, or those types of investigations also start with certainly McConnell and his wife. There is going to be a bit of a deep dive going on with a lot of these politicians who think right now that they're safe. They're not safe. They're not going to be safe. This is not a situation where if you go after them after they've left office, you are reduced to being a banana republic. That's not accurate. If you go after them Sorry about that. Okay, not a banana republic. What it will show and indicate, and frankly prove to allies, that corruption at that level is not going to be tolerated, and that there is a big broom sweeping out that which is simply not acceptable. You know, as citizens, we're not naive. We understand that, you know, politicians are in the pockets of people. We understand that lobbyists have a lot more clout than we would like them to have. But there's a difference between kind of being subtle about what you're doing and being flagrant about what you're doing. And Trump knows no other behavior. He only knows how to be flagrant. The universe wants you to have faith, have trust. It will return. Things that, in fact, that's not really accurate. It's not that so much it's going to return to normal. It's that there will be a new normal created. A normal that is more inclusive, more hopeful, and more balanced. So, wonderful citizens of America and citizens of the world, take heart. It's not going to stay this way forever. In many ways, the lesson was learned. This time around, it got enough attention. The lesson has learned. People have figured out all the things that they needed to figure out. They have witnessed the level of corruption and disregard that goes above and beyond what anybody deems acceptable. So continue sending positive thoughts and positive energy to those people who are working to create change, whether those are politicians, whether they are lawyers. I'm thinking about the lawyers in particular who are working at the southern border. I can't remember what the name of that organization is. I apologize. Lawyers that are, you know, taking things to the courts, states that are fighting Trump and this administration on every single level they can. Continue to support and send energy and encouragement to those people, because they, together with the citizens, will create an environment that is able to move forward in a much more productive and sane manner. So that's my reading on Trump, McConnell, and Lindsey Graham. And as I end this reading, truly the only words that come to mind are useful idiot. And I suspect they're useful idiots to each other, and they're definitely useful idiots to people who are not allies. There you have it. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, take care, be well. See you soon.